I'm going to talk about not only the spirit molecule, but the God molecule, 5-Meo DMT. First of all, my name is Vince Dowd, and I'm the founder of Authentic Elevation, where we help people awaken their consciousness. But I wanted to share with you the most powerful, the most profound experience I've ever had in my entire life. And that was actually just recently with my 5-Meo DMT experience. Now, I just want you to know my background. I have actually gone through a lot of self-work and a journey of self-actualization and interdimensional work. And I have another video out on this that I just put out yesterday, but I wanted to do a short and condensed version because I know people's attention span is less than a goldfish. So I want to give you the key things that I got out of 5-Meo DMT. So just so you know, I did it under the guidance of a very good qualified sitter. We had 4 other people who joined us, and they were people that I pretty much knew except for one person. And so it was a very small group. I anticipated it would be like ayahuasca, but I was in no way prepared for what I was going to experience. With ayahuasca, there's the subject-object duality consciousness that still occurs. You have a lot of visuals with ayahuasca. And ayahuasca is very healing and has changed me in many ways. But 5-Meo, unlike DMT, which is the spirit molecule, 5-Meo is called the God molecule for a reason, because it takes you out of subject-object or duality into singularity, into unity and oneness. So I set an intention, because I believe in always setting an intention when you work with the medicines. Any kind of medicine that I do, I come in with a heart of openness and surrender. And my biggest fear with 5-Meo was I was not going to be able to surrender. A friend had told me about it, and he had done it like a few weeks prior, and he told me it makes you surrender. But I know that I've always held on to my control. I know my ego always wants to control as a control freak and an A personality. So I really, for a day or two before, just really kind of prepared my body, ate vegetables and, a light diet and no alcohol, no drugs, nothing, no over-the-counter, anything like that. I did have some coffee, but I went in with the intention, number 1, to surrender. And I asked the divine to please help me to surrender. Number 2, with the intention to know my divinity and actually to experience great love of what we're here for. And with those intentions, I went into it. So what they did is they had me smoke a pipe, and I'm not a very good smoker, so I was afraid I was gonna not be able to inhale it, but I did. They gave me a very small amount at first just to see how my body reacted. And as I was smoking it, I had this intense feeling, and he told me, keep smoking, you're gonna feel the medicine. And like everything started moving. It was not so much fractals, it was very clear. And it was just very much moving. And then I went back and they put me back on the mattress and I laid with my arms open, and it was very, very powerful. Then I started to explode kind of into this other dimension, this other space. And it was a very beautiful experience, a little bit fearful, but also very beautiful at the same time. And it was dark, there wasn't a lot of visuals. And it was very, I felt my body moving, my fingers began to do mudras, which is, I guess, some kind of a kundalini awakening that happens. I've had this happen in ayahuasca as well. And I started to just feel like I was part of everything, a beauty and everything that was hitting me. And, I'd been there, I don't know how long, because I was gone, I was not in my body. And when I came back, I had this profound sense of self that was everything and everybody. I felt like, as I looked at the facilitator, I looked him in the eyes and I said, you understand. And I said, this was not a small dose of medicine, was it? This was a big one. Because I thought he kind of lied to me just to get me to do it so I wouldn't be in fear. But actually he laughed. And then after a few minutes, he goes, no, that was a small one. And I was like, wow, if that was the small one, I don't know what's coming next on the bigger one. So when I took the bigger one, which is about 15 or 20 minutes later, I had everybody loving on me for about 15 minutes, because when you come back into your ego and your body, you see into their eyes and you see yourself. At least I did. I saw that I am them. It's like, if you remember Michael Jackson's video, I forgot the name of it, but everybody's face morphs into one. And that's what I saw. I saw basically everybody in the room who I loved and it was me, and they were me, and we were all one. I saw that clearly, but it even gets bigger. So on the next set, he gave me the bong so I could do a deeper medicine. And I did the bong, very heavy amount. I don't know how much it was. And then he said, okay, you're going to feel the medicine. And I kept sucking, and he pulled the little thing out, and I sucked the last part of the vapor into my lungs. And I went back, and I went into symmetry. And apparently symmetry is when you're going into bliss and oneness, the singularity state. When you cross your body, you start to go into ego. So I started moving that. My fingers started moving again, and I exploded. And oh my God, it was the most powerful thing I've ever witnessed or had happen in my life. I don't even know where I was. I was not in my body anymore. My breath had gone so deep, and I felt I was facing death. I was in the void. I was in blackness. I saw my body ripping apart, shredding. I saw like layers of my ego being destroyed. I saw lifetimes going before me. And I exploded, and I had this breath come out of me. It was like, and I couldn't even breathe. I felt like I was totally giving my last breath. And then I became okay with it. I was shaking, exploding, and my body was vibrating. And then I just let go, and I just gave in and surrendered to it. And the last breath left my body, and I was in total bliss. I was in total oneness. I saw myself, I didn't see myself actually. I felt myself being all things. I was all life. I was the dance and the dancer. I was the song and the singer. I was all things at once. And I had this feeling, overwhelming feeling of sacredness. That everything in our life, myself, everything, every being, every part of life, every non-living thing, everything is sacred. And I had this overwhelming sense of sadness and joy. This great divine love for everything. And I was there for a long time. I don't know what was happening. I felt like perhaps when I came back in my ego for a second, I felt like I was laying on the mattress. But then I came back into my body. I came back down, and I was coming into it. And I was so blown away as I looked into everybody's eyes. I sat up, and I saw myself so clearly in the facilitator. I looked long and deep into his eyes, and I said, "You know, don't you? You know." I said, "You are me. You are me." And I hugged him. And we rolled around and hugged and loved on each other. Then I looked over at my partner, and I looked in his eyes. I grabbed his face, and I looked at him. I looked at my friend. Every eye I looked at, I realized it was me. All the faces kept changing into me. I was everybody, and everybody was me. It was so powerful. Now, I thought I laid there the whole time, but what I found out was I had let out these gasps, and then I'd started rolling around and stomping my foot. I turned blue, and I sat up and I spoke in tongues. Apparently, I spoke in a distinct language. I had no clue I was doing any of this. I felt like I had never moved. I was just in consciousness in the expanse of all things. It was so powerful. And that love and that admiration stayed with me for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then it stayed over the next several days. And I started to look at everything differently. It has impacted me so greatly to understand who we are. And although there was fear involved in it, there was also great love. Because we all have fear in us, there's going to be fear that comes up, and it's going to be coming up to go out, to disappear. So I shredded my ego. The facilitator said, "I have not seen that powerful of a dissolution of self in a long time." He said, "The way I knew that you dissolved your ego, that you dissolved yourself, was you went into total symmetry, and then you did the death rattle." Now, I know the death rattle because when my mom passed away, I know when you sit with a dying person and they take their last breath, they go, and they start to do this rattling of the throat and this breath, this last breath. I experienced that, and I recall exactly when I did, when I hit the conscious realm of oneness. And I just felt like I was all things. And I remember my breath doing that, but I don't know where I was on the planet. And it was so, so powerful. So I'm just going to tell you, should you choose to take the journey of 5-MeO DMT, it'll probably be life-changing. You will face fear, you will face love, you will face your divinity. And I would encourage you to have an intention to maybe go in with a clean body and a clean mind and an intention to really find what it is you're looking for. Because if we have more people that take this journey, we might wake up this planet before we destroy ourselves. So I hope this helps you. If you have any questions, let me know below. Please give me a like if you liked what I said, or a love. If you want to share it, please do. Keep in mind, I'm not recommending anybody take the medicine. It is your own personal journey. And you will feel like you died, but it will be so liberating to know that you can let go and let God, which is you, which is me, and it's all of us. So I thank you so much. If you have any questions, let me know. And I will share in the future as I continue the work and down the road. If you want to watch my longer video, you'll see it here on my page, on my YouTube page. Otherwise, have a wonderful day. And I appreciate you listening to me because I am you. Jai Bhagwan. Thank you very much.